Gold Rush Gamble. Ash, the riverboat gambler with a wily grin, stepped off the dusty gangplank and into the lively Gold Rush town along the Sacramento River. The town buzzed with hopeful miners, merchants, and outlaws, all drawn by tales of gold hidden in the hills like buried treasure. Ash's eyes scanned the crowd, landing on the rowdy saloon, where gold and secrets alike changed hands at every poker table. Pushing open the saloon doors, he felt the familiar rush of excitement, the sound of shuffling cards like music to his ears. He knew that here, in this noisy, dim-lit room, fortunes were made and lost in the span of a single hand. Ash had a reputation as a gambler who never left the table without more than he came with, a fact not lost on the other patrons. His arrival caught the attention of Marley, a fierce card player with a scowl like a storm cloud and a simmering vendetta. Marley had tangled with Ash before, and the grudge still lingered like smoke over last night's campfire. Ash felt Marley's glare but ignored it, moving toward the high-stakes poker table in the corner with calm precision. Taking his seat, he placed his stack of gold coins on the table, a bold signal that he was here for more than idle games. The first hand went swiftly, each player exchanging guarded glances, calculating risks and weighing their luck. Across the table, Leela, the saloon singer with an enigmatic smile, observed Ash, her eyes sharp with hidden intentions. Ash sensed Lila's gaze, her interest both flattering and suspicious, but he couldn't afford distractions tonight. Cards were dealt, and Ash's fingers moved with practiced ease, shuffling his hand with an unreadable expression. Round after round, the pile of winnings grew in front of him, and so did the tension in the room. Marley's patience wore thin as he watched Ash rake in gold, his jaw tightening with each card drawn. Ash leaned back, feigning casual confidence as he tossed in a golden nugget, raising the stakes with each glinting bet. His calm facade masked the rush of adrenaline, the thrill of the game intoxicating and dangerous all at once. With one final hand, Ash won a peculiar prize, the deed to a gold-rich mine, sparking murmurs around the room. Marley's face flushed with anger, and even Leela seemed caught off guard by Ash's sudden, unexpected windfall. The crowd buzzed with envy and admiration as Ash held up the deed, his eyes gleaming with newfound opportunity. Marley, simmering, approached Ash, growling a threat disguised as a congratulatory remark, his words heavy with spite. Ash knew Marley's type well, men who wouldn't back down, men who would gamble their own life just to settle a score. Leaving the saloon, Ash tucked the deed safely into his coat pocket, already feeling the weight of his new prize. As the night deepened, shadows trailed him through the narrow, lantern-lit streets, watching his every step. By the river, Ash sensed a lurking danger, the whispers of jealous rivals carried on the cool evening breeze. He tightened his grip on the coat pocket, half expecting a knife or a bullet aimed at his back. Suddenly, figures emerged from the shadows, Marley and two cronies, their faces hard with menace. Marley demanded the deed, his voice a low growl, claiming it rightfully belonged to him and not to some slick card shark. Ash held his ground, his eyes cold and unyielding, knowing surrender would only lead to worse trouble. In one swift motion, Marley lunged, but Ash dodged, barely avoiding the blade that sliced the air. A fierce struggle erupted under the starlit sky, boots scuffling in the dirt, breaths ragged with exertion. Ash's fists flew, every strike calculated, but Marley's cronies closed in, their numbers tipping the odds. Just as he staggered, Leela appeared, her voice sharp and commanding, momentarily halting the fight. With a fierce glare, Leela warned Marley and his men, her presence adding unexpected tension to the scene. Reluctantly, Marley backed off, casting a final glare at Ash, his eyes promising future vengeance. Ash watched as Marley and his cronies disappeared into the night, leaving a thick, ominous silence in their wake. Turning to Leela, Ash nodded his thanks, though he suspected her motivations were more complex than mere kindness. She merely shrugged, her expression unreadable, before disappearing back into the shadows of the town. Alone, Ash checked the deed, relieved to find it intact, a reminder of his close call and the high stakes he'd just survived. Dawn broke over the river, bathing the town in a golden glow, but Ash's mind was on his brush with death. He realized the prize he'd won had made him a marked man, and greed would follow him as long as he held it. With newfound resolve, he decided to visit the mine, eager to see if the promise of gold matched its reputation. The trek to the mine was rugged, the hills steep and the trails winding, but Ash's determination didn't waver. Reaching the mine, he felt a rush of awe. The untouched earth seemed to glisten with potential wealth. Digging just a little, he uncovered a glint of gold, affirming the value of the land he now possessed. However, a shadow of doubt crept over him as he considered the dangers his fortune would continue to attract. That night, back in town, Ash heard rumors of Marley rallying others, his ambition twisted into dangerous obsession. Ash knew a final confrontation was inevitable, the only question was who would walk away alive. As the full moon rose, he prepared himself, his mind sharpened and ready for the gamble of his life. The showdown took place in the silent town square, each man's stance braced with deadly resolve. Ash and Marley faced each other, neither blinking, the tension thick as they waited for the first move. The crowd held its breath as Marley drew, but Ash was faster, his movements swift and precise. A single gunshot echoed, Marley staggered, and the crowd erupted in murmurs, tension finally released. As Marley fell, Ash felt a wave of relief mixed with exhaustion, knowing he'd survived but paid a high price. He glanced at the deed, realizing the gold and fortune weren't worth the constant risk and bloodshed. Quietly, he made his way back to the river, contemplating a life beyond the gamble and the violence. With a final glance at the town, Ash resolved to leave, carrying only memories and scars from his time there. He left the gold rush behind, choosing peace over peril, ready to trade ambition for a chance at a life of his own.